I'd like to respond to a question, well, a statement that was made in the audience where it was said that other people had been enslaved before the black man. This is a true statement, but no other race of people have been strong enough to withstand the bondage of slavery and come out of it and still be a strong people. If we can come out of the bonds of the type of physical slavery that our people was in when our people first came over here through the Middle Passage and what have you throughout slavery, then I know in my heart and mind that we can come up with a positive, powerful solution to empower our people and to lift the weight of oppression off our heads.
Joe, would you like to elaborate?
Sure. Thank you, Reverend Peterson, for those wonderful remarks. My name is Joe Russel. I am a world-class wheelchair weightlifter and founder of Physically Challenged on Wheels, which is an organization designed to motivate and inspire the youth in our community. And I do a weightlifting demonstration to show them that if I can accomplish my goals, then they can accomplish their goals. And I do what I do from a physically challenged point of view. After listening to everybody's stories and experiences, I see that I haven't been alone in the experiences and situations that I've been confronted with vocational rehabilitation. I'm very honored to be involved with Reverend Peterson and Disabled in Action to have improved the quality of life for people of color that are disabled through the vocational rehabilitation system. I became paralyzed from a car wreck in 1976, and as a result I'm paralyzed from the waist down, and I had been a client of vocational rehabilitation, so my experiences are firsthand. First of all, I felt that there was somewhat of a dehumanization process that I had to go through with voc rehab, being that to me, they broke me down like a shotgun, my economic status and my financial status, being that I was paralyzed at age 19 and hadn't had prior work experience, that the assistance that I did receive monetarily was Social Security income, which is to me a form of welfare, being that I wasn't able to receive a Social Security disability income. And so because I received such a small amount of money, I qualified to be a client of voc rehab. Well, after breaking down my expenses and everything and seeing exactly what I made, they made me feel that if I could take their pressures of accomplishing their goals, that if I still stuck around, then I really needed their help. Now, they had goals. I wanted to go to school, so I accomplished all the goals to register for a school. And at the time that I was in school, I had been in school for about 1 year, and I was making very good grades. I consider good grades for me, being that I was an AB student, and I even received an academic scholarship from the college that I was attending, which was Central Piedmont Community College in Charlotte, North Carolina. And my voc rehabilitation counselor had a meeting with me, and he wanted to give me a 4-hour psychological evaluation. And I wondered why he wanted to give me a psychological test, being that I was doing excellent in school and I had been going to school for a year, making A's and B's. And I was very reluctant to do that at the time. I really objected because I didn't see that there was a need to see what my psychological makeup was, being that I had adapted to my situation of being in a car wreck in 1976 and overcoming my physical challenge to the extent that I could push my wheelchair and hop on my crutches and excel in school. But I went on and took the test, and I felt that was a form of a dehumanization and psychological warfare that they bestowed upon me. I saw that a lot of the clients there that, in my opinion, were not accomplishing objectives like I was accomplishing the objectives of voc rehab, and they were receiving transportation, for employment in education, such as cars and vans with lifts on them. And every time I approach my vocational rehabilitation counselor about getting some form of transportation for myself, they always had another goal or objective for me to accomplish. And me being the achieving, ambitious person that I am, I accomplished those objectives. But every time I did, they always had another objective. And as a result, I was unable to get the transportation that I needed, that I saw them providing for other people. So I bought me a used car, and I used that as my form of transportation. And my car was tearing up on me, and I demonstrated that I did have a need to get some reliable transportation. And because vocational rehabilitation did not provide for me some transportation like they did some of the other clients, and I must add people of non-color clients that were receiving these items, I decided to get myself a job. Now, vocational rehabilitation, by definition, is an agency that is set up to help the disabled, physically and mentally disabled, get employment. And they did not help me gain employment, even though I was a good student and demonstrated that I could accomplish my objectives academically. They weren't able to find me a job. So I went out in the business world and found my own job. I got me a job at Wachovia Bank and Trust Company in Charlotte. And at the time I asked my counselor again, look here, I got my own job that you didn't help me get. I need some transportation for work. So they said that they didn't have a budget for it. So I was unable to get transportation. But as a result, I went on and I got a loan from my bank and I got myself some transportation. But here is an organization that was supposed to be some assistance. And I was having all kinds of difficulties and overwhelming odds, in my opinion, to get what I felt that I deserved and that I needed to improve my quality of life. Just like anyone else with a physical disability wants to improve the quality of their life. So I had the opinion that I wanted to be a vocational rehabilitation counselor. But after going through the experiences that I have, I wouldn't want to be a vocational rehabilitation counselor. So I'm very much interested in being involved in disabled enactions to improve the quality of life for disabled in the vocational rehabilitation system. And as Reverend Peterson mentioned, there have been other problems and obstacles in my life as a wheelchair athlete. I want the public to know that discrimination, prejudice, and racism does not stop just because you're in a wheelchair. See, I know what I consider both worlds, being, quote, normal, walking on my 2 feet up until the age of 19 and then getting in a car wreck and being confined to the wheelchair. So I see that there's even more discrimination. I have more strikes against me, being that I'm black, I'm male, and I'm physically challenged. So it's very, very difficult to overcome overwhelming odds. In the athletic arena, 1 year I transferred from one basketball team to another, and the manager of my basketball team blocked my transfer to another team. What I call whiteballed me. So I could not compete that year, so I had to sit out the year, and then I played the very next year. Well, the reason I wanted to change teams was because I was the only black on the team, and I set the bench. And I may not be the best basketball player in the world, but I did okay. So I set out that year when I played for the other team, and I came back and played ball the following year, and I made all conference, being that I was voted one of the best basketball players in the conference from my peers of basketball players. So that tells me that there was something quite not right in that particular setting, and I could sense that that's why I moved on. Now, I competed in weightlifting on an international level, and I was on the United States team in 1986 competing at the World Championships in England, and one situation happened to me where I felt that my performance was sabotaged, and as a result, I bombed out in that World Championship competition. I say, or some people would say that I allege, that the coach gave me some pills that made me weak, and he had me to eat some foods that really weren't conducive with my body, and as a result, I was sick the day of the contest, and I bombed out. I did not lift anything. The thing was, what hurt was the winning one was lifted 281 pounds, and before I went to the competition over here in the States, I was lifting over 300 pounds. Well, my coach could not even look me in the face and say, "Hello, Joe, good morning." As a matter of fact, one day, the only thing he said to me was, "Come here." And I was sitting in the cafeteria eating lunch, and with my other friends from Trinidad and England, and he called me over to him, and he said, "Joe, I was watching you eat with your shades on, and you look like you were one of the black dudes that marched with Martin Luther King back in the 60s. Well, I told him, I said, no, I wasn't old enough to march with Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King back in the 60s, but if I would have been old enough, I would have. I said, by the way, you look like the man who pulled the trigger and killed him too. So this was after the fact that I lost the competition. To me, that he showed his true colors. Now, on an international level, the coach, he was Italian, and I was up against a couple of other athletes on the USA teams, which I considered, which they were Jewish, Germans, and Klan. So this was not a conducive atmosphere for me being the only person of color on the USA team. But I overcame the situation. I feel that they knew that I had the potential to be one of the best in the world. This happened in 1986. And in 1989, I set the world record at the World Weightlifting Championships because I did not give up. And I think this is what particularly white America wants us to do as people of color, is to give up. You know, they keep slamming doors in our face. They put stop signs in our way and obstacles in our path just to see how we will react to them. But I have what I call the 4 D words, and I added a P word, determination, dedication, discipline, and desire. But I added the word persistence because we as people of color must always continue to strive for what we want and to never, never, never give up. So I welcome the opportunity to be a part of and involved in the process of helping the disabled. The group is Disabled in Action, improve the quality of life for the physically challenged people of color through vocational rehabilitation, and they have my whole support.